that fungal sand, microwave hash. Oh, we'll end with the tears, our railroad lament. 'Cause the next thing we know, they'll be charging us rent.
Just after the end of the song.
Please. We have a parade permit here from the city of Cranbrook, and we've organized the parade route is up the alley here to the corner of Allied Hardware, across the crosswalk, up Baker Street, and we're crossing the crosswalk in Van Horn in front of Hanks into the CP Rail parking lot. We've assured the police that we'll stay on the sidewalks and use the crosswalk at Van Horn. So we'll get the fellas with the pickets to start the line over here and over to Baker, up Baker and across Van Horn to the CP Rail parking lot. And there'll be more speeches made over there. We've got petitions that we'd like signed, and we'll do it all at the CP parking lot.
Right over.
resolution set up on the table here. We'd like everybody to have a look at it and hopefully sign. The reason the rally was called, City Council appears to be in hiding. They were wined and dined in the superintendent's private car, and they still didn't get any answers. We were informed that they were going to ask the superintendent to address council. This hasn't been done, to our knowledge. CP Rail refuses to come out with a firm statement on the future of Cranbrook. They said they don't see any changes in the near future or at this time, but they won't come out and give us any definite commitments. The Sparwood bunkhouse, as the handout says, is only the tip of the iceberg. The men in Cranbrook are afraid that this might be the first step towards moving the coal train crews out of Cranbrook to either Sparwood or Golden. And I'd like to call on Nick Martin at this time.
Welcome. I must say, first off, I'm very pleased to see the turnout we have this afternoon, and I'd like to especially welcome the telephone workers that have come out in support of us. A lot of you are probably wondering why we're here. Well, it would appear that the direction our governments and our large companies are taking, that it's just about time that all working people started getting together. And whatever the issues, they're going to be getting to all of us eventually. And if we don't stick together, we're lost. We're probably lost anyway, but this issue with this bunkhouse is, for you people that don't work on the railroad, it's a direct step backwards for railroaders at least 15 years in time. And it's not because CPR doesn't make huge profits, because they are making huge profits, and especially on this division. All it means is they want to make more profits. So they're going to get rid of a lot more people and do it cheaper. And if we don't make a stand, it's going to be too late. So I just like to thank everybody that has come up. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. I'd like to mention last night that I got a telephone call for a telex from our MP, Sid Parker. He said he'd been in touch with the Minister of Labour as requested by Local 839 of the UTU here in Cranbrook. He's asked him we'd like a labour mediator to come in, and he said he hopes the Minister's response will be swift and that his office is open for any further help he can give us. And I'd like to call Bill Belding to the mic.
Thank you, Rick. What I'm going to talk about is we may have a few business people in the crowd. The implications of what will happen to the town of Cranbrook. All you have to do is look around the city of Penticton. In 1952, there was probably 350, 400 CP rail employees in Penticton. And if you can find 25 or 30 in Penticton now, you'd be very lucky. The same thing has happened to Nelson. There was probably 450 employees for CP Rail out of Nelson. And today there's probably a little less than 200 and going down very, very gradually. And I would say in the next 5 years, they'll be lucky to have 100 employees. Smaller communities like Yak and Jaffrey and Wardner, or some of us old people that work in the steam days, they've all disappeared. There's nobody there left anymore. The next craft that's finally disappearing is our operators. So these are the people that put the train orders out for the enginemen and conductors and trainmen. And there's very few left, and my understanding that out of the 25 or 26 that we have left, 15 or 16 of them are going to be laid off by the 1st of May. So what happens to the city of Cranbrook? Well, Cranbrook, we probably have close to 400 CP rail employees. The first stage, we've had 40 employees laid off already, which is what they call a normal layoff, which may be quite true, because we have very few people on holidays right now. But the next stage is that probably in April, that we'll have another 30 to 35 more trainmen who will lose their jobs when we go into our new bunkhouse. And probably very close to that time, we're going to MBS system, which is an automatic block system that the CP rail call. They're going to make the engineman and conductor responsible for taking orders over radios, laying off our operators, which about 15 are going to lose their jobs. So we could lose another 25 more brakemen who can walk the street. Okay, what's the long-range forecast within the city of Cranbrook? We've already lost in the next 6 months probably $2 million payroll. And when they put in the tunnels at Glacier, the next stage may be that they take applications for jobs in Golden or Spiral. And this would do away with almost 60 to 80% of the running trade people in Cranbrook. And of course, Golden or Spiral would gain by this. So there's another $3 or $4 million that's gone down the drain for the community of Cranbrook. So what does it do to small business people? I'm a small business people too. I'm a general manager of the UK Food Co-op as well as working on the railway. I'm also a director of the Cranbrook Savings Credit Union, which is a small business in the community too. If we've got 200 or 300 railroaders gone, these businesses suffer. They don't buy gasoline, they don't buy food. The town of Cranbrook seems to be going downhill. And I think these businessmen in this community should go after city council, which I have spoke there, and they've seemed to just thrown it underneath the rug and figure it's going to go away, to go after CP Rail along with the Chamber of Commerce and get a long commitment what is going to happen to the Cranbrook as far as CP Rail is concerned. And I'm concerned, and I think a lot of business people are, and so are most of you people here, which are railway people. We don't want to move to Sparwood, or we don't want to move to Golden, but it looks like in the long run, in the next 5 to 10 years, this is going to happen. And I just want to give you a little brief of what things can happen. And thank you very much for a good turnout. Thank you very much.
Bill was told that he would be invited to address a Chamber of Commerce meeting. That invitation hasn't been forthcoming yet. We would very much appreciate you people as well as supporting us here if you would phone your alderman and tell him that the future at Cranbrook could very well be at risk. And we think they should be a little bit more outspoken on this issue. Want to read it?
This is just handed to me to read. It was written by Casey Jones, and it's entitled "The Unhappy Railway Man." Now here's a hail to CP Rail, to bacon and to beans, to long coal trains and rusty rails and family-shattered dreams. Let's give a toast to a passing ghost, to our youth way back when. We rode the track both front and back, and we're happy railway men. Let's sing a song as we ride along. We're Sparwood bound, we hear, to pots and pans, to forks and cans and a case of lager beer. Let's raise our glass to the CP brass, that league of tie and tails. They're experts on expense accounts, but they're short on riding rails. They think they know what is best to fit the master plan and fill the Sparwood bunkhouse with the unhappy railroad man.
you'd expect a man to come sit and wait about 2 days for a train. I'd eat my meals at the Nugget, but I'm a little short on cash. So I'll sit there in that bunkhouse, eating microwave hash. And so with a tear I'll end this railroader's lament, 'cause the next thing you know, you're gonna be charging me some rent. That's a fact. Let's wait and think about it. I was right. And so with the tear I'll end this railroader's lament, 'cause the next thing you know, you're gonna be charging me some rent. Well, I got my mail late last night, a letter from a girl who found time to write to her lonesome boy somewhere in the night. Send me a railroad ticket to take me to her loving arms, and the big steel rail gonna carry me home to the one I love. Well, I've been out here many long days, I haven't found a place that I could call my own. Not a two-bit bed to lay my body on. I've been stood up, been shut down, I've been dragged into the sand, and the big steel rail gonna carry me home to the one I love.
We know how that.
Nothing.
And what further action the CPA employees will be taking to try and stop these changes from happening?
Well, we're trying to take political action through our elected representatives and
Good.
fighting it through our lodges.
Okay. Just okay. I'll introduce you and then I'll ask you the first question. Okay. I'm speaking to Mr. Rick Borgstrom, who is an CPR employee here in Cranbrook. Mr. Borgstrom, this rally seems to be based on the building of the new bunkhouse in Sparwood. Why is it the tip of the iceberg?
We're afraid that it's only stage one of an ongoing process. The rally was called really for the future of Cranbrook. The bunkhouse, it's still being negotiated, probably go to arbitration, but there's more to it than that. We're afraid that we might be in the bunkhouse for 2 or 3 years, and then they'll say this isn't working, you'll be moving to either Sparwood or Golden.
Okay, there was an editorial in the paper a short while ago saying that bunkhouse is just a bunkhouse and that the CP employees are being a bit paranoid. Tell us how real the threat is that they might abandon the Cranbrook terminal.
We're just going by rumors we've heard on the railroad. This bunkhouse was rumored 2 or 3 years ago, and our officers in Calgary said they knew nothing of it, and then it was built, and then they were given the notice. So it wasn't handled properly from the beginning. We've heard the same thing in Revelstoke, that there's going to be a new bunkhouse built in Golden, and again, we can't get any information on it. And if this is the case, Revelstoke could very easily be facing the same thing Cranbrook is, as being moved as a home terminal.
Has this happened in the past where terminals have been abandoned?
Not to my knowledge.
The one in Penticton, is it, or Kelowna?
Well, that was before my time, the old Kettle Valley Railroad. Yeah.
What stand has the Cranbrook City Council and Chamber of Commerce taken in this issue?
None that we know of. the local chairman for the BLV. He addressed City Council. He was told he would be invited to the Chamber of Commerce. He hasn't been invited to the Chamber of Commerce as of yet. And City Council, they heard him, and that was the end of it. We've heard nothing else.
What should they be doing?
Well, we would like to see them get a hold of the Railway Transportation Commission, get a hold of CP, tell them they want, the facts, just what are the long-range plans. CP's public relation people did come out and say there's no threat to Cranbrook at this time. We'd like them to go a little further than that and let us know, put their cards on the table.
What could happen to Cranbrook in the future?
Cranbrook will always be a terminal because they'll have to man the trains to Nelson, to Kingsgate, to Kimberley. But I would say there's 40 crews in Cranbrook now. They could handle that traffic with 4. The rest of us will be gone.
And it will affect Cranbrook economically?
Oh, definitely. Most definitely.
What further action are the CP employees planning to take in order to stop these changes?
I imagine they'll just lay low for the time being and see if there's any answers forthcoming from CP Rail. We didn't want to undermine the negotiations that are going on with the bunkhouse. We were told last week that it's going to arbitration. Apparently now, as far as the BLV goes anyway, they've brought in a third party, and they're hoping we can negotiate something locally here, which I think the men are almost resigned to the fact that we're going to be in the Sparwood bunkhouse. But if we can come up to something locally that we're not away from home too long, and that's not the first stage of an ongoing process. The fact that they win the bunkhouse doesn't necessarily mean that we're not going to be opposed to have them have Alberta crews come into Sparwood from Crow's Nest. We don't want to lose that piece of track or the miles involved. When the MBS comes in, tell them that we work 11 hours and there's lots of time to run from Sparwood right through to Golden. If any of that develops, well, they'll just point out that Cranbrook's out of the way as far as the terminal.
Thank you very much, Mr. Borgstrom.
Thank you.